Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site, bettingangle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, last week we were 2-2. So let's get after it this week. Now, before I start, let me just give a real short story. I was in a sports bar earlier. I was going to say tonight. I guess it's the next day already. On Monday night, I was in a sports bar, and I was sitting at a table. There was another table to my right. There was a table to my left. And we weren't talking to each other. We were just, watching the game. There's a play where Pat Mahomes is under pressure, and he throws the ball up. When he threw the ball up, someone at the table next to me was like, "Come on, man." Right? Then the ball goes into triple coverage DeAndre Hopkins. And Hopkins, of course, made the catch. And you know the rest. All three tables were shocked. Right? There were comments from all three tables talking about how that play was unbelievable. So the server came over, and the server said, "I missed it. What happened?" And the guy at the table next to me basically said to him, "You're not going to believe it." Right? Well, let me just say, if I'm DeAndre Hopkins, and I just hopped off the bus, and I'm looking at a map of KC, and I don't know my way around, then suddenly I look up, right? I'm just getting by. I'm trying to prolong my career. Suddenly I look up and I see Andy Reid on the sideline. Suddenly I see defenders running over to Travis Kelce. In other words, he's pulling attention away from me. Then Pat Mahomes, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, is throwing me the ball, even when I'm covered, and I'm catching the ball. I'm going to think to myself privately, man, how did I get this lucky? Right? I'm going to think to myself privately, man, whatever I do, I've got to find a way to stay in this situation. Right? Let's just say that Hopkins is one lucky bee. Let's hope he realizes it. He has years of his career left to him if he stays with KC because, believe it or not, you don't need to be the fastest guy on the field for Pat Mahomes, who reads movement, to find you. Right? Mahomes is the kind of guy who can sense when you have any kind of separation. Right? If he trusts you and you're running routes and you're able to have a little wiggle and to get some kind of separation, it doesn't have to be vertical. It could be horizontal. He's going to find you. So here was Hopkins, his second week with the team. A major factor already. He already has a chemistry with Pat Mahomes. Wow. Life has twists, doesn't it? Well, let's talk about picks for this upcoming week. I like the Denver Broncos getting 9.5 points. They're on the road. They're playing Pat Mahomes. As impressed as I was with Hopkins and Holmes's instant chemistry, and it's shocking, right? Let's just say that they picked up Hopkins because they're extremely thin at wide receiver, right? KC, of course, did not win the game against Tampa in regulation, and they didn't win the game by 9.5 points. Denver has a vastly superior defense. Then Kansas City. This is a game with a low over-under. I think the points are going to be hard to come by. I like Denver getting 9.5. The next game, Jaden Daniels, wow, he's a Pro Bowl candidate, isn't he? Right? He wouldn't be in the AFC. Right? That's a quarterback's conference. You heard me mention Pat Mahomes, whose team is the last unbeaten team standing, and of course, they're the defending Super Bowl champions. Right? You also have Josh Allen. You also have Lamar Jackson. You also have Joe Burrow, right? Let's just say rookies really don't have a shot at the Pro Bowl in the AFC, do they? NFC is a different story. Some guys who came into the season having you thinking they had a shot, Dak Prescott, for example, have fallen off the mountain, right? Brock Purdy's 49ers aren't where you thought they would be, right? Jordan Love has been battling injury, has been throwing a lot of picks. So guys who would be Pro Bowl candidates are having a hard run of it. Now, you do have one obvious Pro Bowler, Jared Goff, right? Let's put him in the Pro Bowl right now. But let's just say in the NFC, don't rule out the idea that Jaden Daniels makes the Pro Bowl, right? This is above and beyond being Offensive Rookie of the Year, where if he stays upright and doesn't start throwing picks like Jordan Love, he's almost a certainty to be. Well, he's at home. He's playing Russell Wilson, who I continue to feel is underrated, right? 8-time Pro Bowler. Pittsburgh, much better defense, in my opinion, than the Commander defense. Tomlin, defensive coach, you and I know that defensive Swengalis like Tomlin can be extremely hard on an opposing team's rookie quarterback. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers getting 2.5 points at Washington. Next, you heard me mention Dak. You have another guy, the Phillies quarterback, Jalen. Phillies in town. The over-under is too low to me. Right? At a minimum, Philly's going to score points against this Dallas defense. That's at a minimum. I like the over 42.5. Right? Again, the over 42.5 in Philly's visit to the Dallas Cowboys. Next, and I know there are a lot of pundits out there who disagree with me. That's fine. This is my betting ticket. Right? I feel the Jets have a shot at the playoffs. But they need to win games like this. Now, I know Arizona has exceeded everyone's expectations. But statistically, Kyler Murray isn't that big a winner at home versus the road. Look at the splits. I like the Jets getting 1.5 in the desert at Arizona. Again, Jets plus 1.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Next, you heard me mention Jared Goff. He's having a great year, folks. Detroit right now is the class of the league. Right? I know KC is unbeaten. Let's say I still don't know how KC's doing it. Right? Let's face it, too. At this point, Todd Bowles' Tampa team defensively isn't blessed. Right? And KC's offense, look at Mahomes' numbers. I know if you look in the win column, he's on top. But his numbers don't match Jared Goff's numbers. Goff is visiting Houston. Now let me say this about C.J. Stroud's team. They are defensively blessed. Don't sleep on this defense. The over-under is a little bit high. This is, of course, Jared Goff outdoors. I like the under 48.5 in the Detroit Lion Houston Texan game. Game's in Houston. I like the under 48.5. Finally, I know Tua is back. I know Miami looked good. I know Miami gave all kinds of problems to the Buffalo Bills this last week. Right? I tip my hat to the Miami Dolphins. But they're in a different conference, and that makes all the difference in the world. They're in a different conference, and they're on the road. Right? Understand, in LA, I know we joke about the Chargers not having a home field. I don't believe you can say that about the Rams. Right? The Rams have a home field advantage in LA, right? Let me also say, too, that the boys are back in town, right? Cooper Kupp, he's back. Puka, he's back, right? And so this Ram team at home only has to lay 2.5 points to a Miami Dolphin team that just recently got their quarterback back and that doesn't know the Rams like they know their divisional rival, Buffalo Bills. I like the Rams here laying 2.5 at home over the Miami Dolphins. So those are the plays I'm going with this week. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.